I decided to make a video to help people with the VLAND 5th gen Camaro headlight upgrade. These things don't come with bulbs, and I wanted to preserve, I have the package with the HID headlights on my 5th gen Camaro, and I wanted to preserve the high intensity headlights with this retrofit. And there's basically no information. There's tons of information on installing these, ripping off the front bumper and all that stuff, but almost nothing on the light bulbs that go in these things and how to connect them and what your options are. So basically, what these things use is the D style socket. So for instance, here's an HID bulb. This is a DS2. Let me pause here and make a correction. Through the whole video, I have my numbers of lights incorrect. D1, D2, D3, D4, I have it backwards. So the styles are the D1 and the D3 have the metal bases shown here, and the D2 and D4 don't have the built-in igniter and have the round base. So you'll notice the whole video I have it backwards, but all the information is correct and still is relevant. What these things use is the D style socket. So for instance, here's an HID bulb. This is a DS2. It has this type of socket for an HID xenon bulb. The other style it uses is the DS2. That's not it. The DS2 style, which are these with the igniter bases. So xenons have an igniter and a ballast. So this is a ballast, a factory replacement ballast. This is a Morimoto upgraded aftermarket ballast. And then in addition, they need an igniter to start them. So these bulbs, the metal base you see in the bottom contains an igniter to help start them. And then these bulbs don't have an included. This is the D1 series, and D3 series bulbs are like these. So you plug them into a base like this that has the igniter built into the base. So this bulb is what you see mounted in this base. And either of these can plug into the same ballast, Morimoto ballast, and operate. So in this headlight, I already have installed a D3S bulb, and with the Morimoto ballast going to it with the built-in igniter. So it would be this light bulb installed in that housing. So basically what it has this ring that pops off of that, and then you open the ring like this, and you place it over the bulb. And you can see there's notches on it, so there's some oval notches on this side, and there's the square notch on that side. So the square notch is common on all the different bulbs, D1, D2, D3s, all of them. But what changes is the notch on the side. So if the car specifies a certain exact bulb, the notch will be offset in different positions, depending. But this headlight doesn't care. It'll use all of them. So there's only one spot with a notch, and it's right there. And so as long as you line up that one notch in that hole, it doesn't use any other notches, so you just close it like that. So now, with that closed around it, the bulb's ready to go in the housing. And it lines up and twists in, half turn, and it's basically in. So you can also use those style bulbs in LEDs. I really wanted HID because the research I did, it still isn't to the point where LEDs are quite as bright as xenons. Xenons are dimmest when you first start them, and within 15 seconds or so, or maybe 30 seconds, they achieve full brightness and maintain full brightness. LEDs are the brightest when you turn on, and over the next 15 minutes, they dim. And it's not a lot, but still, it's still it's not as bright as when you started. Xenons are still the best choice, I think, and that's what I wanted to preserve. These are projector style headlights, which worked perfectly with these bulbs. So these bulbs just have one light point. There's not a high and low beam. These headlights just use a single lit bulb, and the way it achieves high and low beam is there's an actual mask, like a mask that comes and blocks kind of the top of the headlight. When you turn your high beams, it raises the mask and lowers the mask. That's why with these types of headlights, you see that very clean line in your headlight beam where it cuts off the high portion of the light. And so it actually mechanically actuates a mechanical movement of the mask inside this. In fact, you can kind of see it in there. You can see the mask if you look. Just a thin piece of metal that kind of goes across the whole way. So how it connects inside here. So this is your factory headlight connection there. This is your factory turn signal and HID or DRL connection, the tan one. And then inside it has a standard old school type of headlight connection. It would go to some of these older bulbs like these. Even though these styles won't fit, these are H style, I believe, headlights. They don't fit in there. It's the D style, like these that do. But like I said, you can use the D 1, 2, 3, or 4s. And the difference is the 1 and 3s have the non-ballast connected like these, and the 3 and 4 have this type where it has the included ballast. And the difference, apparently, the higher number ones don't have mercury. They're more environmentally friendly is the biggest difference as far as I've been able to research. And I just wanted to post videos of showing the details of these, the sockets, the connections, because it's something I couldn't find anywhere. I couldn't find pictures, nothing on the websites, just nothing that was helping me to determine what bulbs I could buy and use in this. So this was a kit I bought. I'm not going to end up using it. It's a cheaper kit, but it works with the D1 or D3 style bulbs with the built-in ballast. I decided to go with these. So those are 35 watt ballasts. All the bulbs are rated for 35 watts, but if you get a 50 watt like this, they run brighter. And so they probably won't last as long, but they'll still last a pretty long time. But they're pretty substantially brighter with the higher power ballast. So I decided to go that route. And apparently, I haven't seen it yet, but apparently it yellows the light some. So I don't like my lights to be blue at all. I don't like them to be yellow. So I think 5,000 is the kelvins I prefer. So I think running this higher wattage ballast, it's going to knock the 6,000s down to closer to 5,000. So it should take the edge off. And then the other thing is, like my car is the RS version, which has the LED taillights and the HID headlights. You have to use this adapter in between the connection between your factory harness and your headlight. So this plugs into the headlight, and it takes you can see they're the same, the ends. So this plugs into the car, and this plugs into the headlight. This is the female portion, and it has a little jumper in here to make it work. Apparently, this is designed to work with a non-HID headlight car out of the box, and then using this adapter makes it work. So what I did is, instead of connecting it and have it outside like this, I connect it and shoved it all inside. So the end of the adapter is what you see on this headlight out there. So it looks nice and clean. The factory connections will still go in there. And then this adapter is all pushed inside the headlight. So I thought that was the better way to do that. And then with this xenon bulb, once you get it all put in and the wires fish through, then you put it on and twist, and this should go in the car. So the power for this ballast comes from inside the headlight, comes from this old school headlight connection. So I made connections into that here. And then the power comes to the ballast, and then it returns to power the bulb. So on the factory headlights, the ballast is screwed in. It's at the bottom of the headlight, and it's part of the housing. So the connections are inside dry, but the ballast is outside where it can be cooled. And so I hope this helps, because I've spent 2 weeks researching light bulbs, learning about this, bought different products to see what will work, because there was just no good information, no close-up shots of the sockets. No close-up shots of how the bulbs work, which bulbs work, what my options were. It looks, I believe now that I could use all the lighting and even possibly the ballast out of the stock headlights, though the connections are designed to be inside the housing and not outside like this one. So I don't know how well that would, I don't think it would really work. I think you still would want a ballast. But you could potentially get a ballast that's designed to be outside like this and still use your bulbs. But you'd want to get this style connection, the D1, D2 style connection. The connection looks like this, that plugs into the headlights, rather than this other style. Lost my footage, had to reshoot this. But continuing the other style of connection to headlights, besides the D1 and D3 series like this, which goes to these type of bulbs, is the D2, D4 series like this, with the igniter socket as one unit rather than the igniter being part of the bulb. The DS2 bulbs like this plug into this socket and light the bulbs. So you could use any of those types in these situations, whatever you prefer. But like I said, the stock car uses the D1, D3 series. So if you want to use your native bulbs, you'd want to go that route with a ballast connection with this type of connection. Also, VLAND sells a xenon kit that's designed to go in their headlights, pictured here. And the difference with this one, it uses the universal type xenon bulbs, so they're not like the D1, D2, 3 series. They just have a wire lead coming off. And so pictured here is the kit. What's nice about this, it's what I ended up having to model. It has a rubber seal that the wires go through, so you just already, so that you can put the ballast outside the headlight enclosure. So it comes with the bulb, it comes with the inner power plug to plug into the headlights, and then the outer side of the wires have the connection to the ballast. And it uses a different type of ballast connection, which is pictured here, which is called the amp plug. So it's the 2 wires. So the black box on that is the igniter, and that has the 2 individual connection wires, the amp plugs, to connect to the actual bulb. And the bulb has, these are universal bulbs designed to go in any housing, so they have all 5 notches. So they're designed to go in any of the type of housings. And here's a diagram of the ballast as a whole. So that's fairly cheap to go that route. I don't know how bright it is or how good it is. It does say it's a 55 watt ballast. So it's potential to be brighter, but I chose just to go with the known and tested at some of these websites. The OSRAM, they seem to be, if not the top rated, very high they are. And so I decided to go that route. So I hope that helps you with this and saves you a lot of time that I spent trying to figure all this stuff out. Literally days of research and getting the headlights and having spent some money on some products I'm not going to use to see what works or what could work. So hopefully this would help you to more quickly determine what's the best choice for you and quickly be able to order all your headlights and your parts at the same time and not wait for the headlights to arrive to try to figure out what your options are.